All right. Obviously, a lot of stuff to cover. First and foremost, part of our guys at the combine for going out there and competing hard and displaying their abilities. And we hope to see them land on a team that could really maximize them and their potential, and they could have great careers. We're really proud of them representing themselves, their hard work in the University of Miami. Practice for us, as you could probably tell, a lot of energy, a lot of juice, like you would expect. But spring has to be challenging. It has to be demanding. It has to create opportunities, and I think we did that with day one. The areas of improvement for us are all over, right? Technique and fundamentals always come with spring football. We certainly devote a lot more time to individual drills, group drills, 2-on-2, 5-on-4s, and 7-on-7s. And then, of course, we also do the stuff that we want to do from a schematic standpoint as well, and intangibly. From red zone efficiency to third down, situational football, as much as we can do it. And the half and the game situations, the middle eight, really work on discipline, having officials here every single day, correcting and then working on our penalties that we can control as they relate to technique and fundamentals. Creating explosive plays, preventing explosive plays, as much situational football as possible. Special teams, which need to improve. We had some bright spots last year, but some spots that really hurt us in some key moments. So systematically, just making sure that we are exploring every mechanism, every process, just to make ourselves better as coaches, as players, as an organization. And just really excited to welcome 26 newcomers and some new hires, of course. You guys saw Coach Chevis Jackson. You saw Coach Matt Merritt out there. Great teachers, elite human beings, hard workers. They really want to be here. They really work hard. Spring ball, it's all about getting better. Okay, we've got some injuries. We'll have about a dozen guys miss spring completely. About 4 or 5 guys join us after spring break. The guys that are missing spring football were guys that either had something lingering just throughout their career, had something pop up during the season, and had to be addressed. But that being said, probably covers a lot of this stuff. But questions, please.
Mario, you said you brought in 26 new guys. It's a new day and age in college football. Everybody knows it. But one of those guys is a quarterback. How do you fast track the 1 year you're going to be able to have with him to be as effective as possible?
Well, I think actually we brought in 2 quarterbacks from the portal. They fast tracked with the way that they've played. They were leaders in both FBS and FCS respectively. They know football. They've played in big games. They've played in tough games, tight games, tough situations. Nowadays, in the off season, they're allowed to have their player-led workouts, and they've had in excess of 8 of those on top of what we do from a skill instruction standpoint. And now with 15 practices, another probably 16 player-led practices in the summer, and then fall camp, we feel good about where we can get him. And actually both of those guys, Reese and Cam, both those guys are really just high-level achievers, learners, workers. And what can you say? They create a lot of excitement for the right reasons. They're demanding of themselves. They bring the right attitude every day, and they just work.
Coach, honestly, the freshman class of last year was a really talented one. 2 true freshman All-Americans. What have you seen so far from this incoming class, and what do you expect from them production-wise?
A lot of the same. They knew that when we recruited them, we needed guys to play. We were very straightforward and honest that we were going to build our program through development and recruiting, and they saw in last year's class the guys that ended up being some high-profile guys from earning playing time. It wasn't given to them; they earned it, and I think these guys saw opportunity. So far, so good. They have a high care factor for football. Football is really important to them. They spend a lot of time in the building, which is necessary to be a good football player, and they're fun to be around. They get after it. They compete. They've got that just dog mentality. So, and they're being mentored and tutored by some guys that have bought into a process that's very demanding and challenging as well. So, feel really good about those guys receiving a high level of, I would say, interaction and I would say culture, just understanding.
Mario, Emery was out there, which was
He
really
was.
nice to see. Thoughts on him and how he did and his progression, and also Judd. I know he's new, but Judd Anderson.
Really impressive about Emery. He's been out for a long time, hasn't taken many reps, and he jumped out there today. It seemed like he never missed. He's that kind of a guy though. But we've talked about it before. He is that over-the-top, dedicated guy that just reminds you of maybe some of those old school quarterbacks that played here that just devotes a ton of time to his craft, a time with the coordinator, time coming in and meeting with different players. And he went out there, he had a great day. Cam had a great day. Reese had a great day. Jakari did as well. Those guys, they got a really good quarterback room right now. You know, Judd got a few reps today. Judd got a few. You know, you see it. He's hard to miss. He's, you know, all of 6'7", and just an awesome human being. He understands that there's going to be some time, you know, where he may not get all the reps, but he's going to develop into a great player. And but again, pleased with the first day with that quarterback room.
Mario, what impressed you the most about Cam? Same question.
What's that?
What impressed you the most about Cam today?
Leadership. Leadership. I think a guy that can take command at the line of scrimmage. I think that's critical. I think, you know, I remember blocking for quarterbacks. I love those guys that could look at a receiver that might complain about not getting a ball, or a lineman that might be overly tired, or a tight end that may, and say, we ain't having that. We're going to go. And it's something that we have always wanted and always want to have at the University of Miami. I think he brings that and more, but he certainly just, he can make plays because he understands what everybody's doing. And I think it's important for a quarterback to really understand what the guys up front are doing, where the free hitters might be, how to put ourselves in a good play, how to make adjustments, how to take over an offensive system. And he runs it at a really, really high level in a short amount of time.
Mario, you mentioned like a dozen guys who are going to be missing spring or part of spring, and a couple coming back. Can you kind of go over who those guys are?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so guys that'll join us at some point in time that have had successful recoveries were Akeem Mezdor at some point in time will join us. Cole McConaughey will join us. He had some soft tissue stuff. Damari Brown will join us. He got some work today, but not a ton. Brian Balaam and Cam McCormick. Those are some of the more minor things. Then guys that are working their way back, it's going to be a little bit longer. Jonathan Dennis maybe at some point in time during spring. Who else might join us at some point in time? Josh Horton at some point in time in the spring. The guys that will be out for spring will be Isaiah Thomas, Nigel Lee Kelly, Armando Blunt, Mark Fletcher, A.J. Allen, Zion Nelson, and Frankie Tinalau. Okay, I hope I got them all. I was trying to get that for you guys. Hopefully that helps.
Did you
I want to
get
ask about?
no, brothers? Sorry, did you just mention those guys?
No, but you did. And yes, you are correct. You are correct. Both those guys will not participate in spring ball. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You saw Duke Johnson and Ja'Cory Harris here at practice.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like having those alums here, and are you hoping to have a lot of guys that come?
Absolutely. It's important. You know how it is. I mean, these guys recognize these players for what they've done here at Miami, what they've done in the NFL. We want to have them around a bunch. Duke will actually be, he's in school, so he'll be a student assistant. He'll be around all the time. And Ja'Cory, anytime you get a chance to see one of your guys, you know, around, it's awesome. You know, it really is. So the guys know him, they respect him. Great to see alumni.
What type of impact does returning the coordinators both year over year allowing you to continue building things rather than installing just great?
Without a doubt, you can evolve. Your off-season studies are relegated. Well, like I say, you can have off-season studies relegated to what you've done and how you can morph that, as well as some of the other teams that have done really well on third down, in the red zone, short yardage team, explosive play teams, right? And then you can now evolve as an offense and as a defense by incorporating things that maybe are completely new and maybe some things that fit. But familiarity with language, with verbiage, with systems, with processes is always, I mean, it's at a premium in college football with the ever-changing landscape, with the turnover that you always have. So it's been a while since we've been able to have that anywhere I've been. So it's really refreshing and it feels good.
Can you talk about Isaiah Horton's offseason, the opportunity he has, number change?
Yeah, you know, for numbers, definitely go see Coach Field, all right, because you can't be right. Everybody wants the same numbers, and I get it. But Isaiah Horton is a guy that he hasn't waited. He's worked during his time. He's been patient, and at some points in the season, he flashed what he can be. And he's that big receiver that you need to step up and make plays, and he did that today in a bunch of different situations. A lot of work to do, you know, across the board, but he's one that has put in work, and we expect him to keep getting better and better as spring goes on.
Mario, with the offensive line, there's a lot of new faces on the top group of replacing guys. Just what do you
Yes, sir.
expect the battle to be like? What are you looking forward to seeing? And if you could speak on Samson, how he's doing.
Yeah, you know what? We expect competition. We do. And we expect our guys to, in the right kind of way, take on that iron sharpens iron mentality. That's the only way we're going to get better, right? Challenging each other and make it demanding. Samson, to your point, or to your question, I should say, he looks great. He's 100% healthy. He got healthy towards the end of the year last year. He had an injury right during the bye week, but he's ready. He's ready to help us. He's competing for a spot just like everybody else is out there, but we expect him to have a really big spring, and he showed it today.
Mario,
you mentioned
as a coach in this day and age, trying to build something with so many moving parts, to have a guy like a Restrepo back, and a guy like Bain, although he's a young guy, played a lot, those type of pillars at a program.
Yeah, I think, well, you know, college football is different, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to complain about the way there's a portal in, the portal out, because again, it might be some on the way out, but you have some on the way in, and you could shape your roster. You can move pieces in, and you could move pieces to places that really fit them. So guys that have experience, guys that have done well in our systems, yeah, they've got to be the hardest workers. So it's good for us, it's harder for them, because out of them, we're a lot more demanding. They've got to be the flagship guys. They've got to be the ones that truly exemplify what we want done. Should they not, they only hurt us, right? They've got to be able to show it. So a great start for him. You know, X has done a really, really good job. Guys like Jalen Rivers, can't speak enough of him. Ruben Bain, you know, you lose sight of the fact he's only a true sophomore, but the way he played, the way he competed, you know, you got to count on him and make sure he knows you're not a sophomore. You're really kind of like a junior. We need that type of experience and leadership from you. So all in all, it's always great to have those kind of guys.
Coach,
We'll do a few more questions for Coach.
Saquon Patterson on defense, JoJo Trader on offense. How are they doing so far?
Well, they did great in high school, and you know, with day one, looked really good. You know, it looked like you know, they've always played at a high level. I mean, Chaminade is, you know, Coach Damian Jones obviously does a great job with that team. Those guys compete at a high level. They win at a high level, so they were no stranger to the work. The pace is different, right? You know, the bodies and the people they're going against are different, but pleased with the way that they've started so far, and we're going to push them because we need both those guys to play for us this year.
Mario, you mentioned a couple of years ago that to earn the number 1 jersey number, you had to earn it. You couldn't just, you know, you weren't giving it to anyone. Obviously, this year, 2 number 1s on the roster. What did they do to earn it, especially with Cam coming in, you know, being a new guy to the team and getting to wear that number?
Well, like I said, Steve Field is handling jersey numbers now, so I'll monitor it, and if a guy doesn't deserve it, I'll just take it off, you know. But I think it's with jersey numbers are really important to the players, and I respect that. We got to find a way to make it work for them. And if they've done what they're supposed to do in the right way, then we try to make it work for all those guys. They want to wear those numbers, we went with it. There's no particular rhyme or reason as it relates why those guys, well, Kiko has because he earned it. Cam has had a great offseason here, and you know what, right now it fits, so
Mario,
we're going to go with it.
Mario, the tight end position, you guys have such a great history here, obviously.
Really good room.
Last year, statistically, it wasn't a great year catch-wise. How much does it help to have Elijah Royal back, and how much more important is that position going forward?
Yeah, you know, we got to do a better job, you know, schematically. And then we also got to get the ball to him when he's open. I mean, we had opportunities last year, and we just didn't connect. It could have been a breakdown up front, you know, in the backfield, the wrong route. But we have always, like you mentioned, had a great tight end room. Elijah looks incredible right now. You know, if you had to pick one guy that's had the most impressive offseason, you'd be in a really tough battle, but you'd have to point at him because of what he's been through. He showed it out there again today, but Riley's taken another step. You know, Cam is coming back from an injury, but he looks good. And then, man, you look at our guy from Bishop Gorman, you know, and how, I mean, he's a really physically impressive, tough, physical, just really good football player. So really fired up about that room.
Coach, obviously, you know, you had some exodus of players, and some guys returning. Who are some new leaders you've seen step up in the replacement of some players that may have gone?
I think we're going to hold on that until we see them actually get challenged. I think day one, everybody's really excited to show what they've gained in the offseason, and I think it's easy to have a lot of energy and enthusiasm. I want to see what it looks like practice 11, 12, when the bodies are hurting a little bit and they got to show out and they got to prove that they're ready to lead this football team.
Great. Thank you, Coach.
Okay.